Everyone, welcome to my channel again. Today I'm going to present you the project that I have successfully run in my local environment to build the AI agents and let them talk with each other. Um, First of all, the tools I'm going to use, first of all, is MLLM Studio. Uh, so with LM Studio, you can download the model that you want to test and also to load it and to start the server. So to let the VS Code module to actually access to the local server and interact with the large language model that you prefer. And then, of course, we need the Visual Studio software installed so that you can run the Python code very easily. And the last and most important thing is that the Autogen. Autogen is a package, and also the I think a package is a right name because I'm going to import in the Python environment. Uh, this Autogen is I think developed by Microsoft and is very useful for me to actually build this conversation program between different agents. So you need to pay attention to two parts. The first part is LM Studio page. It will tell you how Autogen can interact with LM Studio. It is very in detail. You can test all the code, of course. The second part is about group chat. Group chat is actually more advanced. So if you check this page of the LM Studio, it gives the example of two agents chats. So it's just two agents talking back and forth. But if you are talking about the group chat, actually the group chat will invite multiple agents to interact with each other. Okay, so I invite you to check these documents. It will be very useful for you to test the code. So let's come to the code part. From the basic, I just mimic what the document says. So first of all, I set up two models. Okay, so if you set, for example, this Gemma refers to this Gemma model, and also the URL key is the local LM Studio. You can find it, and also the API key is LM Studio. Okay, so basically setting up the different model will be useful when the agents will link to these models. And you can see here the second part is to from the Autogen import conversible agents. This part is actually defining the different agents and which model it will use. So for me, I always use only one model. But if you want one agent to use one model, the other use another one, it is I think is possible. But you need more configurations of LM Studio and so on. Okay, so basically at this moment, in my LM Studio, I chose the Mistral model, but here I leave it like this. It can run because I think LM Studio will recognize this kind of link directly without actually checking which model you are referring to, because actually the server is working with one model. So when you link to the server, it will work. Okay, so this is the code that you need to run the conversation. It will produce a chat result. Okay, so who will start the conversation? Jack will start the conversation, and it will talk with Emma. And the starting message is Emma, tell me a joke. Max terms will define maximum of the conversation passage is like if the maximum is 2, actually you have a you see here you have a 1, 2, 3, 4. I think terms, one term, two terms. One term is one back and forth. Two terms is in total two back and forth. Yeah. So you can see here the result is very good. Emma, tell me a joke, and Emma starts to tell a joke. Okay, then Jack says, that was a great joke. I'm glad it brought a smile to your face as well. Then Emma, I absolutely agree. So they're actually doing this conversation, right? You can check and test by yourself. I think the more you test, you can find the different results. Okay, so at this point, we have mimic the official example and test it with LM Studio. This is okay. So I want to go to another example, which I tested to actually, I think if we want to apply this package of Autogen to other use case, we need to have it in mind. For example, for me, I would really like different agents to build a financial analysis team to actually tell me if the stock is underpriced or overpriced, and if I should buy it or not. I think there are many examples on YouTube. You can also check, but here, okay, I just test what's my initial construction of this team and to let them talk as a group. So this code, at the first part, I also define the different model, but now I'm more specific. I want to define the Mistral model that I'm using. So just to make sure that I understand the whole picture. The other two, I leave it here, but it does not make any impact. If you want, you can delete it. Okay, so about the agents. First of all, I created more agents. I create a team head of the team. The team head will do a lot of job. I just describe them all here. I think my code is correct, but if I'm wrong, feel free to mention it. Um, and here I actually describe the job it will do. It will be the leader of the team of stock analysts. You instruct the general analytical framework and ask analysts to process data and give investment strategy and suggestions. In the end, you combine opinions from both data analysts and the news analyst. Okay, in this part, I think the better you define the agent's role, the better it will run and get results in the later stage. So I also have the analyst on data, analyst on news. So basically, one will check the data of the stock, financial data. I did not specify, but if it is recommended that you specify in a more detailed way. I also ask it to actually analyze trend, plot a line graph, and so on. Then about the analysis on news, I ask it to check the news and also give some summary and also provided the recommendation. So in the end, I want the team head to summarize. So go to the next part. The chat will initiate from the team head to the analyst on data, team head to analyst on news. Okay, so let's check the results. Maximum turn is 2, so I expect that it will be 2 back and forth. So yeah, the message is analyze Apple stock. Okay, so basically the team head actually first talk to the analyst on data, give some feedback. I think this was the results we get from the model itself because it was trained on massive data sets. So actually, the model actually figure out this by itself. It I think it have to be not 100% accurate. So, but you can see here it structured this information I think very well. You can see historical stock price, earning per share, and eventually it gave the conclusion that a solid long-term investment opportunity. Okay, it looks very good, and you can also try in your local environment to check the whole response. Okay. Also, the if you check the LM Studio because you are running a server, you can see the conversation and all the log. It is very satisfactory because previously I tried. If I remember correctly, is the UI version of the Autogen. Actually, the configuration of the different agents and so on. Of course, you can do it in the browser, in the web browser, but it's I always meet some problem. For example, if the prompt is just one word, and the feedback is just 2 words, it's not working. But in VS Code with Python, Jupyter Notebook, it works well. Okay, so let's see. First of all, here, the first response from analyst to team head. Okay, then team head says, actually the team head is working like furthermore. He actually tells the analyst on data to pay more attention on the market developments and so on. So it's not like, okay, I get your advice and I summarize your advice and that's it. Okay, it actually want to dig more, to explore more with analyst. So yes, analyst also give additional comments about add additional information about the stock price, investment potential. So actually, it stops here. Okay, so when I reach this point, I realize that actually there is not another feedback. So uh, the conversation is complete. But if I want to get the conclusion from the team head, it does not give. So I need to configure either the conversation terms or I change the description of the team head and make sure it works better. Okay, so the is still prompt engineering as a basis. So the better you engineer the prompt, the better you get the results. So the system stop here and goes to the next conversation. Is the team head to the analyst on news. Okay, so at this point I realize it's a separate chat. Okay, so it asks the analyst on news to check. Okay, and it says I'm a AI language model, don't have real-time access, of course. So it actually it gave some general analysis based on the information it has. For example, like this information is dated in 2022. So from the pure conversational point of view, I think it's working. Yeah. Then the team head tells to the analyst to news, in addition to the analysis above, it is crucial to consider both quantitative and qualitative factors. Uh, in my opinion, this is not very necessary because I would expect the team head to combine these two parts. Because the analyst on news is going to focus on the qualitative part, and the analyst on data is going to focus on the quantitative part. So that was my original design. But okay, so it asks this. I think in the future I need to better refine my prompt and the description of the role. Uh, okay, so Amazon News says, okay, it actually does the work it asks to. Not only analyzing the news, but also to give some comments about the data and also examine the KPI and so on. Uh, and also it did the competitive landscape, management efficiency, and industrial trend comments. Okay, so actually, the analyst on the news is doing the job for the team head. You can see here the team head should do the final comment by combining both the analysis. You can develop a well strategy. Okay. Uh, okay. But eventually, you see, this one, the model becomes very prudent because it suggests that you should consult another financial advisor. So, technically speaking, it is not doing its job. Okay, but you can see this flow of conversation is going, so you realize there should be some more adjustments, either with the prompt, with the max terms, job description here, system message, I call it as job description. Okay, so then I further refined the code. I tried the user proxy agent because I consider user proxy agent is that the user inputs will actually influence the conversation. So I set up this user proxy parameter according to the documentation of the Autogen. So you can see here, there are some informations here like a name and so on. So then now I start a group chat. So the group chat is going to actually involve multiple agents here. For example, I have three agents: team head, analyst on data, analyst on news. And also I have max in round six. Because I think there are too many agents, so maybe I need a longer conversation to get a meaningful result. In the meantime, I'm trying to input my prompt. Okay, so it's not like previous version. Actually, I write the prompt in the code. Now I want the user input, so I input the prompt. Okay, the conversation starts. You see the user proxy is the user, me, will start the conversation. Uh, and conversation to the manager, and so the manager will go to the group chat in this sequence. Okay, let's see. Okay, the system take my input as the user proxy to chat manager conversation, and then analysis on data. Okay, says okay, I'm doing the blah 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 analysis. Okay, and yeah, it talks to the chat manager in summary. Okay, Amazon stock, blah blah blah. Okay, it does not give a very precise conclusion because it says you need to do further analysis. So it's not working very well. And then it says that it is important to keep in mind the past performance is not a passion. I think this is like a disclaimer from the banks, investment banks. Yeah, it's quite interesting. Yeah. So then the group chat select the speaker field to resolve the next speaker's name. I think there are some issues with the naming of the agents. So if you see this kind of message, I suggest you to actually check. Uh, Actually, the next part, the conversation goes to analysis of the news. Analyst of the news. It says, yes, you're probably right. It's important to remember historical data. Okay, so it actually takes the as message of the disclaimer, so it does not do much job. Okay, and then it says absolutely providing clear. Okay, it's like not so useful, right? It's a writing disclaimer. So at this point, you can see the group chat actually goes, but I suppose there should be more definitions, like either in my prompt or in the structure of the team and of the job description, right? To configure better these agents. Uh, but as a start, I think I would say this is okay. Okay, this model works, and I need to further refine to actually do the jobs that I intended to have them done for me. Uh, yeah. So this example stops here. Okay. So just a quick wrap up. You can do two agents back and forth conversation, or you can have a group conversation. Okay. So the next example for the models, the definition are the same. I did not change. Uh, Actually, you can see, like the previous example, I ask the analyst on data to plot, to analyze the trend. Of course, it cannot. Okay, so I need to further work on it to see if I use some resource code to let the agent to act on to draw the graph based on the data, or I should I just should test the different alternatives. But at this moment, I keep on going. So the job description actually, I did some improvements, some adjustments, and I'm inviting a coder and a tester. So, in my opinion, if you are going to invite a coder and tester to a conversation and you want them to write the code and test code, of course, there are many use cases that you can check on YouTube. But at this moment, if you only define it here, it will not work. I'm going to show you. So this part is the same. We are going to have a user proxy. Yeah. So just a reminder, whenever you see there are some comments here, you can stop the video and check. Some of the comments I leave the error message just for future check. For example, the original proxy code actually it asks for the Docker environment. I have never used it. so I want to skip it. Okay, so I need to set here user docker force. If you want to refine this code, I think first of all you need to understand the document of Autogen of a specific function, and if you have some difficulty to modify the code, you can ask ChatGPT to help you. But remember, ChatGPT has limited capability. So the next part is still the group chat, but here now we have the coder and the tester. Okay, next round 6. I manually insert my prompt. Okay, and here I think you need to pay attention because the system will recognize the whole part. The message should have two components. Okay, a complete one, not only like this, the text information. You can try because you are going to see the error message. So I'm going to start the chat again. Okay, analyze Tesla stock. Okay, the log actually says group chat select speaker failed to resolve the next speaker name. Yeah, so there is some error, but here the team head starts to ask the analyst on data. Can you provide me the Tesla stock price and share the recent news about Tesla? Uh, and ask the analyst on news to share the news on Tesla. Both of them are working. Okay, so first of all, it promised that it will actually work and get the information. Yeah, also the news analyst on news. And T has based on information, I would like to remember buying Tesla stock at current due to the strong financial from the earnings reports. Uh, I would say I don't see much data here for the team had to analyze. For here, the news, yeah, the news is positive. Okay, surpassed the expectation earning. Okay, so it makes sense, but the capability of individual agents, like I said before, we need to enhance their capability. So this is a part of the conversation. Actually, the channel manager actually talks to team head talks to analyst. Then we go to the next part. Is the team head to the channel manager. Okay, give actually a response, right? It's very structured. I like it. Introduction. This is which company, fundamental analysis, valuation multiples. I think if you further modify the code, you can get a, the quasi professional report from this model. Okay, then you can see here, they also did a technical analysis and also news analysis. Uh, I mean, the accuracy, because it's not a link to the third-party API, not getting the news, I think is uh, not 100% reliable. But the next attempt in the future, I would try to like use a Y Finance or use the Google News Google News package or API to get such information to the model and let it analyze. Okay, so at this moment, we are always utilizing the knowledge base of the local large language model. Okay, so pay really attention to this. If you try to have fun and to test the model, yeah, it's okay. But to really use it, be very, very careful. Then here, uh, okay, you can see this is different from the previous one, previous examples because we have more agents and actually we have modified some of the this job description of the of each agent. So you can the result has some improvements, I would say. And then we go to the next part. Actually, the team head. Now it's your turn to play a role. Which of the following roles would you like to assume? And what instruction or question would you have for the team members? Yeah, so it will select them and provide the instruction to ask question accordingly. Okay, so yeah, now analyst of data says diversification is an important thing and so on. This is quite general discussion now. And the coder Set to manager, yes, diversification is okay, but the coder is not doing its job. So there must be some problem with my setting. Okay. In summary, it suggests a diversification. I mean, the primary job of the coder is to code. Okay. So actually, uh, okay, let's see here. The coder starts speaking again. Well said. Okay, I'm not sure which agent actually talks to this agent before because I don't see it here. Anyway, you can do different tests to check the workflow. There is also a very clear documentation of the Autogen. I recommend you to read it, okay, because I'm also still learning. So in the next part, I actually make my prompt very, very complicated because I see the result is not so well. I say analyze the Tesla stock starting from the team head to get a general plan of the task, then analyze on data to discuss with coder and tester to run a functional code to get analyze stock data. Let me see if I have a trunked uh, version. Yeah, is this one. Is easier to read. Analyze Tesla stock, starting from the team head to get a general plan of the task. The analyst on data discusses with coder and the tester to run a functional code to get analyze stock data and financial data and to give advice to the team head. Then blah blah blah. So and now I give a very very clear instruction to the group. Let's see how it goes. So it takes the prompt, okay, and pass it to the chat manager. Okay, and the team head starts to talk back to the chat manager that I'm a team head. So yeah, how these agents will work. Okay, it's very well structured, right? So it first of all says that it will assign the task based on the expertise of the team member, three team member, very well organized. Okay, and it says using tool like Bloomberg, Y-Finance, Fred. Here I do not provide the Fred API or the Bloomberg API, so this is a very good assumption, but not very realistic for me to implement a free version on the local environment. Then once they complete their analysis, I'll combine the insight and give a report. Yeah, it's very good. So report, the outline of the report, it also describes, is very comprehensive. I like it. But you see here, group chat select speaker failed to resolve the next speaker's name. This is because the speaker selection call returned nothing. Okay. So I think this problem repeats. In the future, I need to check. Is that did I misspell the name of the agents, or there is other problem? So let's keep on going. The next part, actually, I think there is another solution to this kind of missing next speaker. It will pick another speaker based on the chat. There must be some logic behind. If you want, you can further check. So basically, now analysis on data, I think is based on the plan. It starts to check to talk with the manager. Uh, okay, and the team leader, I fully understand analysis tone and follow the objective. So there is a kind of mix up because analyst on data is not a team leader. Okay, he understands the job and starts to work as a team leader. So, but some of the part like this part, yeah, you are actually repeating the previous conversation. Not very useful. Okay, so now the team head to the manager, the team leader, my primary goal is blah blah blah, define blah blah blah, ongoing monitoring. Okay, sorry. Yeah, here. It describes its goal and so on, but not very concise, not very useful to actually deeper with the conversation. Then failed to resolve next speaker again. So still, this analyst on data chats with the chat manager. Okay, so it did what was already there, and he is taking responsibility of the team leader. Okay, but from the information of the step, you can see there are also some errors because here you see from point 1 to 5, then from 1 to again. So I think there is some problem with interaction with local LLM because the description of the task is too complicated, so the system cannot handle it. I see this kind of error sometimes before, just during the conversation with Mr. Model. It will start to hallucinate with different code. Does not make any sense. Okay, so you see here, it tries to make up a lot of numbers, but they do not have any meaning. So at that point, the local server continues to run. I manually stopped it. Okay, so you see the error message here. This is part of the server log. You can see I take a screenshot. The server log actually shows infinite numbers. Okay, so that basically says this project has to be stopped. We need to change either the model, either the structure of our agents. Later, I try another way. I do not manually insert the prompt in this window. I actually define the message to feed to the system. Uh, yeah, I think this is another way to feed the message to the system. Uh, but somehow it actually only gets okay, it asks my input if I remember correctly, but you can try. This is not a very big issue. You can either write your prompt here or you just manually input here. Okay. So at this stage, it starts the group chat again. Okay. Select speaker field. Okay. So at first it gives some comments. Okay, so but here we have some improvements. I will now step aside and let team head handle the analysis with using historical data. It's not 100% correct because I do not want the team head to do anything with historical data. So you can see there are more complicated configuration with more complex conversation. That will be needed. So to the next part, let's see the team head to chat manager. Okay, to provide the analysis, I will do a combination from the technical analysis. Okay, it's good. Both the data analyst and news analyst. Okay, it's going well, and it starts to okay fundamental analysis. Okay, it tells you uh, part of the information and also some subjective conclusion here. But the problem is that the two analysts have not said anything. Yeah, so this is, I don't know how to define a hallucination or what. Uh, Here, you can see the team head to the chat manager. Okay, disclaimer, blah, blah, blah. This is kind of a standard term again. So, representation, okay. Subject to what? Okay. The group chat select the speaker field again. Okay. So if it failed, actually the talking, I think is like the LLM one side output. It does not say who is speaking. So I will leave this kind of issue in the future to resolve. And at this moment, yeah, this is actually the one of the result of the server log. It shows a very messy picture. So just to wrap up, we have some issue remain. For example, this error code and the insufficient assignments of the job to different different agents. And in the end, I think we can improve in the future, like I said, the prompt, the agent's job description. I see it like this, and also uh, the detailed configuration of the usage of Autogen. I think we will find also tons of example on the website. The problem is that most of the example on the Autogen documentation is based on a OpenAI API or other uh, structure, which you have to link to the API of the online LLM model. But if you are going to do with a local LM Studio, you always need to do some tests to change the code to adapt to the local large language model. Yeah, I wish you find this tutorial useful and happy coding. If you have any question, feel free to leave a comment and I'll reply and also to have a discussion with you. So let's advance in the AI agents creation. Have a nice day. Bye bye. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I wish you had a great summer. Now, uh, I would like to take this opportunity to share with you the agentic tool that I have been using lately. It's called Agent GPT. You can see the website in the URL box of the Chrome browser I'm currently using. Um, I'm recommending this tool because it is very easy to use as agentic workflow. Okay, so basically, I think two features of this tool are really attracting me. First one is it shows the tool calling process. The other one is that it is built under the agentic structure. Uh, Unfortunately, I have not yet seen the source code or examine in detail of the functionality of the website. But so far, I have get some useful results. For example, now if I want to do some web search, I would like to use it to like a starting point, to understand some of the search results. So basically, it's very easy. You just use your Google account or you create an account, and you just log in. For the free tier user and also the paid user, you have different plan. Okay, so I'm just going to show you two examples, just like it is like a comparison of the two scenarios. The first one on the left hand side, I would like to get 10 latest AI news in Italy. On the right hand side, I'm going to get 10 latest AI news in general. Okay, so you just input here the name and the goal. Okay, those fields are mandatory. You just insert and click run, it will start running. Okay, so you can see the first one is actually add a different task. This is very nice. Okay, it is based on your prompt. It creates a different task. So for each task, it will call different tools and to just to get a job. Okay, so you can see on the right hand side, it actually also called the tool to do the code. Okay, to get to write the code. So you can see some code is written. Um, in my experience, if you ask it, for example, now the free tier, you only have the GPT 3.5 version. Okay, so if you wanted to display the graph to output some of the data analytics information, it's not like a GPT 4.0 or GPT 4 where you can see there is a more robust tool calling and output of the results. But here you can get most of the text results and also some coding. You can also ask it to do some coding. Okay, so let's see. Now it already finished. Okay, finished all the tool calling and the research, and you see there is a max loop threshold, and you click summarize. You are going to get the final result. Okay, so it will give you, yeah, cite the source. This one I like it very much, and also provide the information as you asked. Okay, so just a quick review from the beginning. Okay, let's just review it again. So basically, the first does on the left hand side, you can see there is a stage where it added a lot of tasks. Okay, so it will execute each task For example, the first one is search the web for AI news in Italy, right? It actually executed it. Okay, it's not 10, right? It actually gets 7. So I guess there could be some improvements. And you see the sources of the web search is quite wide. Okay, it's not only from like some renowned news resource or very well known news resource. Okay, uh, and you see it continues with different tasks. Okay, and you can see this one: visit the top news website in Italy and look for AI related sections. This is kind of like a more detailed task. Okay, so you ask for the AI news in Italy, so it will go to the top news websites to look for the AI related section. Okay, this is I would like to say is improvements of your prompt and actually embed this prompt into a more detailed task so it can run. Okay, then we can see here, read the latest news articles in Italy. Uh, I see a little bit repetition here because like the different tasks are aiming at the same thing, just in different way of saying it. Okay. The good thing is that for the web search, each site will also give you some of the source, the news of the source, the source of news. Sorry, and later we are going to summarize, and you see in the summarize stage, it will get all the information that gathered above. However, we can see that it only summarized five, okay, five news, and each news you have one, two, three, four, five. Everything is get from the web search result. Of course, because I'm using English, so most of the websites are still based in English. Most of them, like this one, Agenzia Nova. You can see it has a name, Italian name of the website. Okay, so it can also search some of the information in the Italian website, but mainly it is bounded by the language used, in English. And you see, it also gave some of the suggestion to explore the latest news. You can visit the following website. Okay, so it actually gives you some additional tips that you want if you want to explore the topic. Okay, you can click the website to check. So far so good. Okay, on the right hand side, you can see the result is slightly different. Okay, you can see they actually have the different tasks like open a web browser, search for the news, filter results, show most recent. It looks fine and much better than left one. Compile a list of the 10 latest AI news article. Yeah, all looks good, right? So it actually first one is to let you know where you can find the news. Okay, then you start to search for the latest news and find some articles and always cited, right? You can see it's very good that it actually inquired the MIT website. So maybe this web search destination is very relevant to the task assigned. And you see here is the filtering of the article. Okay, example code. Okay, I'm not sure if this is what I really want because I wanted to actually filter the information already gathered, right? So it's like a quick filter of the data frame. However, it offers the a code. I'm not saying that the code is not useful. If you want to run it in your environment, you can try. Okay. So it actually finished here. Okay, so this is just example code. You can see that this is not actually linked to the result already shown. Okay, so I believe this one is useless to actually get the to filter the existing result. But the filtering step actually happened because in the next to calling, actually it compiled the 10 news. Okay, so I guess it already had some running and the ranking of the page in the backend. Eventually, you see here, you get news. It looks much more abundant than the left one because the range I did not limit to the location like Italy. And in Italy, there is also a language barrier. Okay, most of the large language model are focused on training English contents. Okay, so the Italian contents are not so easy to interact with the large language model. Okay, so more or less the same. As I said, it actually does different tasks and summarize. Okay, yeah. The summarization, of course, you need to initiate by yourself. Let's see the summarization part. First of all, you can tell latest news. Um, Actually, it actually shrink down the size of the news, the number of the news. I asked for 10, it gave me the summary only 5, and also additional suggestion on where to find the relevant information, and also Python code if we want to use it on our hand to filter some of the information. I mean, if I already get a data frame, it will be much easier, right? And I can rewrite the code. But if you just show here, I think it's just an indication that I could try it, but that's not a function for anything here. So then it actually gave me the compilation of the 10 news, okay? So in my opinion, some of the results have some repetition, right? Because like here, um, you don't need to, because my question is not to ask you to provide me with the source so I can check the source. I want you to check the source and give me the result. Okay, so I think there's some redundancy here of the reply. But luckily, in the end, I can see there are different information in the end. Let's try to click one of them. Click a link. Okay, there is the actual page. Yeah, but yeah, because I'm not subscribed, so maybe some of the content I cannot check. Feel free to check to verify if some of these links are real and if the contents are really cited. Okay. So I mean, using this tool can give you a quick start, but eventually, I think we need to, if we use a better model, for example, if you build a model by yourself, you call the GPT-4 or more advanced models, you can get better results in your local environment. If you rely on this tool, like the online version of the agent GPT, if you pay, of course, you get more of the advanced model. You have less restriction on the maximum loop and so on, and maybe you get better results. Okay, but in my opinion, this is a good tool for you to try. And also, if you want to uh, get from this model, I think one is its design. Okay, this is a tool calling and agentic workflow. But here, notice one thing: you don't see one agent talking to another. Okay, but it's called agent GPT. I assume that it is agent that get the different assigned task, detailed task, and solve it, provide results. Eventually, you have another agent to summarize all the information. Okay, this is just my assumption. Feel free to try it out and let me know how you think about it. Okay. So wish you like this video and wish this tool will be helpful for you for web search, and see you next time. Bye bye. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel again. This time I'm going to share with you one of the open source tool. It's called the PyVectara Agentic. This is a repository that I saw posted by some of the Hugging Face experts. As you can see here, it is a Python library for developing powerful AI assistant using Vectara and Agentic RAG. The library is a Llama Index Agentic framework customized for use with Vectara. So without going to every technical details, let's see here. There is a quick start where you can try 3 examples: financial assistance, justice Harvard teaching assistant, and legal assistant. If you are interested in this repo, you can try it. Also, I'll try it later if I find it really useful and different from the RAG and agentic workflow that I have been building. But at this moment, let's just try. So some of the repos now with some of the agentic workflow design, I think the playground is very useful for us to learn to try different tools, right? So basically, the 3 links you saw before is linked to the space of Hugging Face, and you can just try it. So for the first one, for the financial assistance, I just try to ask to analyze the NVIDIA stock. After running the prompt, I get the result. And you can also check the log to understand how the agentic flow is composed and how everything is working together. Like you see different function call, true call, and so on. However, after asking several questions, I do not see that log button here, but I just go through the results quickly with you. The first thing I noticed about the result is about revenue. So basically 2024 has not yet ended. So actually the agentic flow queried the financial reports, and the last financial record is January 31st of 2024. So actually there is a problem about the time stamp of the financial report. This is the first error I noticed. You can also check other data because it will show in the log. You can see which data it gets. I checked it gets the financial reports, so you can check every individual data, and that shows that the financial query is successful. The only issue is about the dates. And then you see here is the analyst recommendations: buy, hold, and sell. So I do not see any source cited for these, or it was calculated by a large language model or some function call. This one was not clear. For recent news, there was some function call about getting the news, and in general, it looks okay. However, there are some errors. And then I ask the comparison between NVIDIA and Microsoft. Okay, it also gives this comparison, but the problem now, as you can see, in 2024, it is saying the financial data in a wrong way because 2024 has not yet finished. Then I asked also about the US dollar and the euro exchange rate. Of course, as the description said, this demo focuses on analyzing the different stock, okay, and so exchange rate is not yet in the scope. So we can move to the next example. The second example is about e-learning assistant demo. You can choose the different teacher style, choose the language, and choose the age. Okay, so basically, I don't want to complicate my demo now. I just show you what I ask in English. So first of all, I ask the default. There is a default prompt, several prompts you can choose. I choose this one. What does the train have to do with morality? It seems okay. It explains the concept and the dilemma. Okay, also the citations. And then I said, what are the other similar situations? It says several situations. Sounds good. And also you can see here are always with citations. And the last one is that I want to see a different dilemma. Okay, that also shows different concepts and with citations. So far so good. Now let's check the log. Usually it's hidden. We can show the log. The log is usually about the last prompt that we give to the system. And you see, first of all, our query is changed slightly to a new one. Then there is an initial response, okay, to call and to output. Initial response will also have different citations. I believe the start and end are start time, end time, or start vector space code or end vector space code. And also you can see the citing YouTube video address and the title and so on. Then there is another tool core to make sure that the response is according to our teacher style and just response to students. Then there is another output. Okay, in general, the agentic flow and the tool calling looks solid. And let's see the next one. Since I have refreshed the page, now I have redone all the queries. So the first one, I said, what are the laws about wildlife management and hunting? It actually gave me the answer. But the different thing is that now this time there is not much citation. We can see here a very clear article and section, but for each sentence there is no citation. And then I say, show me some recent cases. Of course, the cases are all historical ones, for sure. You can see the first one, the year is 2018, and it is in line with the description here because we are talking about the past court cases in Alaska. The last one, I said summarize the common points of the cases that you mentioned. Okay, it actually summarizes the points here. We can see the true call, the logs of the last query, and you see the true call is to execute a summarization about the previous answers, then give the output. Okay, so this true call is quite simple. So basically, for each prompt, you can check the log and see how the true calling is working. So in general, I think either this demo we're seeing, this application, and also this package is designed well, but of course there are many rooms to improve. The first one is about the correct display of the timing of the financial data. That's the most important one. And also to show the sources of the recommendation. Then about the exploration of course, in general, it looks well. It would be better that we understand what the start and end means. So if it has more annotations, I think it will be easier to understand. The legal assistant, of course, for each legal point is better with a citation for sure. And if it could also provide additional data analytical tool for the cases, it will be very useful. Because in the end, if we can have some common statistic summarization, it will be good. Okay, so let's see here. I asked to summarize common points. It gives some text wording. I mean, if we could have some numbers, some charts, it could be better. That's all for the test of this package, this app. Wish you like it. If you have any question, feel free to let me know. If you like any topic you want me to discuss, feel free to let me know. If you like my videos, feel free to subscribe, and see you next time. Bye bye. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel again. Today I'm going to show you a very useful and easy to implement tool. It's called Autogen Studio, which is one of the products developed by the Autogen team. So basically, if you go visit the Autogen Studio 2.0, this website, there are a lot of description already written here. If you follow the instruction, for example, I follow instruction of installing the Autogen Studio. We are people install Autogen Studio and then start with Autogen Studio UI. You're going to have this interface to build and test the agentic workflow with a simple click and input without coding. So let me just show you several examples. Okay. People install, I'm going to show you. If you go to your PowerShell environment, you just quickly copy and paste this command. It will install the dependencies very quickly. And then you also in the PowerShell, you can start the UI with this command, Autogen Studio UI. I'm going to skip that. I'm going to show you the examples I already did. Okay, so basically you see here you have the skills, models, agents, workflow, right? Skills are not mandatory for you to set up because each agent could have a skill. Okay, it's like you teach your agent that there is a specific coding block that it can implement, or some specific skill that's according to your description, but it is not 100% mandatory. It depends on your use case. And on the model side, you can configure using OpenAI or local Llama. Like in this format, you can see this is a local Llama setting. It's very easy. Now I only use a Llama 3.21b model because it's very fast. The inferencing efficiency can satisfy my use case because I do not want to wait too long to get a response. And to set up, you need to input the correct model name, API key as a Llama, and then also the base URL. This is always standard for Llama inference. And also description is just based on your need. Okay, you can describe whatever you want. Then you can test the model. After inserting all the information, you can test your model here. When you click test model, it will allow you to quickly test if the model is connected to the environment. Okay, you can see model tested successfully. Okay, um, I'm going to skip the skills setup now. Okay, now let's go to see the agents. So basically, I'm trying to do one simple case, just a Q&A. I ask a large language model to give feedback. Another complicated case is to ask a group of financial analysts to give me an analytical report about a financial product. So the second case is quite complicated. I have not yet found the solution to it. I have tried different ways to set up system message and so on, but now I have no results. Okay, I believe I need to set up some skills to actually contain the behavior of the different agents. Otherwise, now I only set up the system information, system messages like this one. You see I have a description of the agent, system message. When I put them into a group, now there is no useful results to show me. So I'm not going to show you this, but in the future, if I find a solution, I'm going to show you. And if I'm going to the notebook and hard code the agent group chat and workflow, you can see my previous tutorials. I have made some videos about how to use it. Okay, but now because Autogen has a 2.0 version, AG2, already published, so I'm also going to make more videos about coding on the group chat of the agents and so on. Okay, and at this moment, I'm going to skip the group chat and go to the simple workflow. Okay, I have a user proxy. It's very simple. I just call it user proxy and your helpful assistant to help the users. Of course, there are also some advanced options you can modify, like temperature, max token, agent default auto reply, and so on. Okay, and also there is a code execution configuration. Then the important thing is that you need to choose a model. Okay, if you don't choose a model, it's like when you code in your notebook or in the Python environment, you do not have a configuration assigned to the agent, it will not work. Skills, like I said before, you can customize by yourself, but at this moment, I'm going to skip it just to make the use case very simple. Then I have the primary assistant. Okay, so for the assistant, my description is also very simple. It's like the user proxy, right? But this is the assistant that is going to give me the response. So it represents the large language model without many specific configuration. And the model, as you can see, I choose the same model. Skills, I skip. Now I go to the workflow. Okay, so there is a very simple way when you create the workflow. You can customize the names as you want if you want to differentiate from the other workflows. And of course, there is one thing about the summarization method. Okay, you can let a large language model do it, use the last message, or do nothing. And also here, the agents. Because this is a very simple use case, I just ask the or utilize the user proxy agent to pass my prompt to the receiver, so receiver will give a response, right? So I only have two agents here, user proxy and primary assistant. After setting up the workflow, of course, you can quick test here, or you go to the playground to start workflow. Okay, so I'm going to first test workflow here, because after testing it, if you find something is not working well, you can come back to change it immediately. Okay, so I'm going to ask what is large language model. Of course, before you run everything, please make sure that the Olama is set up and you already put the model you wanted, and make sure the model setting, the model names, and so on is the same as what you input into the Autogen Studio UI application. So here you can see we get a response and it is formatted very well. If you do not want to code like the UI and you just want to do some tests or utilize large language model in a nicely designed interface, I think this is a good option, right? And you can see here, you can see the agent messages, which means that how each agent talking to each other, okay? And what you are going to see here is actually a summarization. Okay, this is a summarize the textual information that's generated from the workflow. And here you can also see maybe sometimes there are some additional results. Okay, additional results, I think skills.py is like default. It will always show you, but when you click it, it's empty because now I have not set any skills to the agents. So as you can see, the test is okay. And I'm going to go back to the playground. Okay, so in playground, you can just start a new session. You can choose the different workflows that you set before. I already made some of the workflows, so I can choose from them. But for now, I'm going to test the default chat flow. Okay, the simple chat workflow you just saw, I tested. Now it's like I formally get this workflow in the sessions page, and I'm going to use it. Okay, so I'm going to ask what is linear regression. Okay, and I hit enter, and the workflow is kicked off. And you are going to see the response later, just like what you saw in the test. Okay, so this is summarize the information, and if you want to see the detailed conversation between the agents, you can see them here. Okay, it's organized and the response is rendered very well, right? It's not like a very random or very unstructured format. And of course, whenever you want to stop a conversation, there needs to be a terminate wording here. As you can see, the skills is still empty. Okay, so if you want to chat with your local large language model, there are a lot of ways, right? You can use Olama directly, you can use LLM Studio, now you can also use Autogen Studio. So at this step, if you do not want to design your own user interface, just go directly, install the dependency, and start the UI. It is very convenient. And at this moment, I try to build a more comprehensive financial analyst group chat like this. I use one user to use a proxy agent to initiate the chat, and received the information will be received by the group of the financial analyst, and also the coder, and also the code runner, and so on, to get relevant information, consolidate to a financial product analytical report. At this moment, I have not yet get the results. So in the future, if I successfully construct such a group chat, I'll share with you. So at this moment, I'm trying to test in two ways. One is to use this user proxy to initiate the chat and talk with the financial analyst group, or I do a sequential chat. Sequential chat is like you uh, you set the sequence of the chat, like this is the only sequential way that the conversation can go, which means that it's not like group chat. You can have automatic selection of the speaker, or round robin. If you check the documentation, there are many descriptions there. For the sequential chat, you need to specify who speaks first, who speaks next. Okay, it's also very interesting. You can try it on your side. But for my current use case, for the financial analyst, either group chat or sequential chat, I do not yet have a successful result. So in the future, I wish I will share with you. Okay, just a quick wrap up. First of all, you need to check Autogen Studio page to understand how to install, and there are many description information there. I find it very clear and useful. Then, when you start in your local environment, please make sure that you understand your use case. For the most simple use case, just question answering, you can just set a very simple workflow, and test it. At this moment, even though the workflow I showed you is quite simple, but you can already test a lot of things, right? You can test the different receiver of the different agent as a receiver to see if they respond differently, and also you can set up, for example, like the agent's temperature and different settings. And of course, if you have enough compute, you can also try different models and so on, and also try some skills. I believe if you ask a coder and a code runner in a very simplified workflow, you can get some results. Okay. In the future, I'm going to show you more use case, hopefully also in the UI. If not, I'm going to show you in the Python coding environment. Okay. So I wish you like this video. If you find it useful, please give it a like, share it. If you have any comments, feel free to leave it. And if you like my channel, feel free to subscribe. And see you next time. Bye bye. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel again. Today I'm going to show you one of the use case utilizing Crewai to complete a task. So before I go to the coding part, I'm going to share with you some of the preparation or the tools that I would like to share with you. First of all, I suggest you to have, if you have the OpenAI, ChatGPT, Crewai Assistant. Okay, it is quite useful because it is built, I think, by Crewai, and you can cite different documentation, ask a question about detail of the design of your program directly here. Okay, it's quite useful. Then is official documentation. Actually, for this part, I use a repo from one of the creator in GitHub. I'm going to introduce to you later. But for the most official part, of course, everything should be already here in the Crewai. Um, Previously, I find it very difficult to understand the documentation because I always try to quick start with ChatGPT, put every documentation and so on, and create a zero-shot program for me to run. But after this time, I find that maybe my previous attempt to try the Crewai was not so carefully examined, carefully organized, because there are many details that you need to understand before you go to the coding part. Otherwise, it will not work well. And I also checked some of the YouTubers. They showed you how to use Crewai, right? Sometimes they use the command line or the other interface, not in the Colab, not in the notebook. I found it very difficult to start. Okay, but this time I find a very good starting point. I'm going to share with you. But whenever you feel confused or you need to modify some of the components, it's better to read the documentation, right? And here is the documentation about the hierarchical process. I think the hierarchical process is what I'm going to use, and also used by the code that I cited. Okay, I actually cited the code created by one of the creator, and he had two versions. One is sequential process, the other is hierarchical. For the hierarchical, it is basically like the corporate structure, right? I choose this version to as the first trial to test Crewai. So just a quick summarization. Hi, quick start. First of all, I find a sample code in GitHub. Then I utilize ChatGPT Crewai. Then I query the official documentation for any of my doubts and queries. Okay, so now let's take a look at the coding part. So I'm going to start with the first version, is the failed version. Okay, so before I go to the code, I'm going to share with you this part is about the license. So this time I actually take it very seriously. To first of all to copy the first original creator, Alex Fazio, the his license here, and also mention what I actually changed in my file. And the last part is my own MIT license. Okay, I think it's a good practice to just to show who is the original creator. So basically, original creator just made the cookbook you can of course go to his website to check. The cookbook is quite high level and it offers you all the options, right? But now I'm going to focus on Grok option, okay, backend of the large language model of Grok, and I'm going to modify a lot of things. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the coding part. Okay, this part is about first of all is about some warning settings. I think it's not mandatory. Okay, I'm just going to pass it. Installing the dependencies. Okay, so from here, I like the package called Pillow. It was not previously thought or included in the original dependencies, but whenever I run the below code, whenever I think some of the dependencies is necessary, I'm going to add it here. So it is not mandatory for you to run it. Okay, only when you have the debugging process and you see something is missing, you just go back to here and add your packages. This is just my way to do it. Of course, if you want a more clean version, you should integrate all the dependencies in just one code block. Then I get the API key. Okay, so the API key is previously already stored in Colab secret, so I can cite it directly. Of course, and also the different information, the different packages that I need to use. Okay. Then here I get the Grok API key, okay, and also, yeah, this is just a ChatGPT suggestion to make some, it's called error handling strategy. So later, I'm going to go to the most important part. First part is about defining the agents. This version, actually, I define the agents very simply. Okay, you can see like the stock data fetcher just retrieves the latest stock data from APIs like blah blah blah. This was created partially by ChatGPT. And also here is a very short backstory setting and also the goal. You have also other information that you want to set, for example, which model to use, maximum iteration, and so on. And the verbose if you want to see the chat records, right? So for every detailed explanation, you can check the official documentation. It's quite clear. So basically, I have a stock data fetcher, stock analysis, and an analyst, a stock news fetcher, and a stock report publisher. Okay, it seems good. Okay, but later you are going to see it's not working so well. Temperature and the models for each agent you can set it differently. Okay, so let's go to see the next part. It's about defining the task. Okay, the task. Okay, so at this moment, I just think I give each agent an independent task. Okay, because their expertise is quite confined in that specific area. Okay, so task one is for agent one. Task two is for agent two. I think this is a standard way because each agent has definition, but you need to assign a task to it for it to work. Okay, so this kind of setting, of course, you can interact with other large language model to define it because a quick start, some inspirations could be very useful. The only important thing for you to notice is that the structure of the task. Okay, so which kind of information do you want to put inside? Does it work? You need to test to understand it. So later we're going to show you some of the chat record for you to understand. Uh, and you see there is also a context part. A context you can see, okay, it has a context of task one and task two. So basically, you actually give this task, okay, a context. Okay, so just the previous chatting records and to let it understand the job better. Okay, let the agents understand the job better. So like the task 4, you have the context of task 1, task 2, task 3. Okay, so next part we're going to see the main part of the kickoff of the program. Uh, so basically, okay, we just input one of the ticker, okay, for it to analyze. So this part is to kickstart the Crewai chat. It's quite similar to Autogen, I would like to say, because you know the agents, you know the task. Okay, you have the verbose setting, and you have the different process. For this part, you see, I only see hierarchical and also sequential settings. I'm not sure if there are any other types. Um, and also, I have not yet tested, for example, like in Autogen, you have the round robin and also casual, different organization of the chat, right? How each agent interact with the others. In here, one part I see how the agents could interact with others. First of all, is by the hierarchical structure. Okay, so one one agent as manager. The manager will kick off the conversation table, and you can see for each individual agent you have there is a delegation. Okay, allow delegation true. Okay, so according to ChatGPT, okay, the Crewai assistant, it said actually if you set true, it can better interact with others. Let's see if it's true. Okay, so the conversation is very long. I do not repeat to you for every detailed part, okay? But you can see from the first view, here are many errors, okay? I just asked ChatGPT to summarize it for me. So you can see the summarization, okay? So the workflow starts from inputting the ticker, okay? Then there is a delegation of the task to stock data fetcher, okay? But there are many errors. So one of the most common error is that it cannot find the agent. So there must be something about the naming of the agent. So I'm going to debug in the next version. So you can see multiple failed attempts to ask the analyst, of course. Final plan, okay. Despite to use hypothetical analyst plan, okay. Okay, it's good. Okay, so actually agents know some of the ways to analyze a stock. As you can see, let's see if we defined here. Okay, yeah, we defined here. Okay, it's not that did not make it up. So it actually follows the instruction that we gave before, but there is no meaningful results. I tell you, in the end, there's nothing. Okay. So also a stock report summary. We can see that yeah, due to tool malfunction. Okay, so what I noticed are two parts here for the first version. First part is that I needed to better define the agents. So when you call somebody, somebody will respond. Okay. The second part is that if the tool calling has malfunction, it means that there must be better with some tool settings. So these are the parts that I'm going to do later. So eventually, let's see the final result. The result, of course, it said required to inform you unable to complete the task. Okay, perfect. This is version 0. Now we are here on version 1. Okay, I'm just going to skip all the parts before. Okay, the settings, initial settings, dependencies, and so on. Yeah. So in this version, I actually tried the detailed tool setting, okay, with the help of ChatGPT, of course. As you can see, I have the tool like a stock data tool, which can fetch different things. Okay, at the first time, I ask you to get the price data. Then I want the financial metrics. I want the other key data. Okay, like I think I remember correctly the PE ratio and so on. So actually, this class of the basic tool grows larger and larger. Okay, as you can see, the major financial indexes data it actually linked to balance sheet, cash flow, and stock splits, dividends, very detailed, right? So it's a big class, okay, with a big function inside to define. Okay, what kind of tool I need? I need a data fetching tool. The data fetching tool will fetch all these data. And we also have the analyst tool, right? And DuckDuckGo, I use it as a web search tool. So analyst tool is quite simple, right? Mainly focus on the moving average calculation, okay? Because from a technical trading point of view, it is quite important to understand moving average. For the DuckDuckGo part, I just wanted to check the news and to give me feedback. Okay, if the news is good or not. And we have also the publisher tool. It actually gives a very structured way, right? So you have the data, analytical results, and also the news part, and instantiate the tools to make sure they will work later. Then let's see the agent setting. The agent setting is not very different from the previous version, except like the role part. For the role part, now I do not say, your role is to blah blah blah. But after my test, I think the role is better to be seen as the agent name. So just to avoid any misunderstanding, I just put the name and the roles both as the name of the agent. One suggestion is that uppercase, lowercase, make sure they are the same. Okay, as you can see here, I have the first one totally lowercase, and the second one has initial as uppercase. Pay attention to this. Okay, sometimes when they talk with each other, they cannot find the correct one because it's case sensitive. It's quite interesting. Okay, you can try it on the side. I'm not sure if it is an issue of the model, the understanding capability of the model, or the Crewai AI infrastructure. Okay, you can try. Okay, as I said, all these agents, I also have the task. Okay, the task is not quite different from the previous one. Uh, yeah. So another difference I want to mention is that now I add the coding agent. Okay, I want the coding agent to actually perform the coding part. Okay, so the main difference, let me summarize again. So basically, now I have the name and the roles both focus on the agent's name. Okay, both of them are agent's name. Then about the fifth agent, the reason I want a Python data coding agent is that sometimes the without control, the agents can hallucinate and provide me with data from 2023. I want 2024. Okay, so I want the coding part to be more precise, and I have these toolbox. Okay, this toolbox is not necessary, is not mandatory. Okay, so as you can see here, in the current version you see, I already deleted there is a tool option. Okay, it is very easy. You just add the tool option in the agent. Then agent will call that tool directly. The reason in this version I actually deleted it, I created this coding agent, is that if you want the crews to call the tools directly, sometimes it will go into a loop. It's like whenever the tool cannot give you the result, it will query the tool several times. So eventually I say, okay, so maybe my toolbox is not set very well, right? So let's try a free coding version. Okay, I just have an agent to code freely. Maybe it will work. That was my original idea. The other thing is that during the conversation of the different agents, you are going to see if you change some of the information, like if you make the task more complicated or the agent description more complicated, the total runtime will change drastically. For this version, I'm going to show you, okay, in later parts. So the task part is as this one, okay. So as you can see, there is an additional task about the coding part. Okay, so in the main block, actually here I have additional part to set the agent iteration limit. Okay, and RPM limit. RPM is like also the iteration limit. Okay, you are going to see. If you want to know the details, you can check the documentation. And okay, let's start. So basically, you can see this is chat record. Okay, there are many information to get, but unfortunately, I also get the 2023 data, which is not what I wanted. Okay, but in general, it did a lot of query and a lot of calculations. Let's see. In general, this workflow. Okay, first of all, fetch the stock data. Okay, success. Analyze data, no problem. Key calculation is about moving average and RSI. Okay. The final insights. Okay, I asked ChatGPT to summarize a very long chat record. Okay, price below both moving average indicate weakening, short-term bullish trend. Okay, and the RSI suggests a potential buying opportunity. Market cap 2.42 trillion. Okay, it seems that the information is correct. Okay, no, sorry, I mean you have some of the information analyzed by the crew. But if you go inside, as I said, whenever you see the volume or the data, okay, it actually shows the data that you don't want. Okay, you don't want to know the data 1 year ago. You can see the trend, but for the latest information, I want to know this month or 2 months ago. So the problem is that maybe I did not specify well here. So I'm going to improve in the next version. Okay. So in this version, actually, after refining the agent's name, it works well. Okay. Eventually, I abandoned the way to fix the tool, ask the crew to freely coding the code. It seems to work well. Of course, if you assign each tool to each agent, you can try a different version of the code. Okay, so the agents will call the tool directly. Okay, and give you the results. Let's see the runtime. The runtime is around 5 minutes. Not bad. Okay. Another important difference between Crewai and Autogen, I think Autogen for the similar task, it actually performs faster with the interaction with Grok API. But if the model is not so good in Autogen, you will not get a result. But in Crewai, it seems that the full flow control is better. Okay, it actually gets whatever the hallucination is, or if the model is good or not good. As you see, I also used Mistral and other models. Uh, it's not so bad. Okay, at this point. Eventually, you have the summarized report. Okay, for this simplified version. It actually said the date is 2023, February 3rd. Not useful, but this result is not so bad. Okay. So let's see the improved version. Improved version, okay, I'm not going to show you everything, okay, so let's go directly to the coding parts, to the parts of the change that I made, okay. So let's see. For the agent setting, you see tool calling, I'm not changing it, I'm not using it, okay. For the agent setting, you see now I have a backstory which is longer. I ask GPT to make it more robust, okay? So you give more backstories like job description, okay? And of course you have the goal like the previous version, of course. Then let's see the task. For the task is much more detailed. So we have the description of the task. We have for example, like this one. Your task is to get the price data for the ticker for the past range period. Okay. From which date? Okay. So I want to be precise. The reason for this is that if I do not precisely tell the agents to look backward, sometimes it could look forward. Example is that if I say, okay, now today is which day? I want to see the performance of the stock, okay, over the past several months, okay. If I don't say past several months, it might look forward. So the more precise you have in the description, the more contained your response will be. So this is just one of the suggestion, is to make sure the task is specific. The more specific it is, we might get better results. We're going to see later. Okay, so I ask open price, closing price, highest price, and so on. Okay, very detailed. Okay, but one of the problem you are going to see later, I have not yet resolved, is that, for example, here, I really would like the agent 1, okay, when it solves task 1, it will delegate the task directly to the coding agent. However, if you see the actual conversation, if it starts to hallucinate or take some of the information already embedded, I say embedded in the large language model, it will give you some historical data it was trained on, okay, the model was trained on, and will not call the tool. And eventually, when the crew manager actually calls for the coding agent, it will go to a very interesting loop. So let's continue to finish this part. Okay, task 1, task 2, task 3. You see, it's very detailed. Okay, so for the setting, for example, if you have this task, you can, of course, if you're already working in this field, just add the information that you think is very necessary. If you are not working in the field, just check some of the reliable sources to see how the task is constructed, okay? So you will get better results. So let's see. Okay, so here, like the coding agent has also a more robust description here. I do the calculation and see the data anomaly. Okay, it's very burdensome. Okay, it's not an easy task. So dependency, like I said before, if I meet some problem running the code, I will come back to install some of the dependencies. Okay, so in the main part, there is a calculation of the start date. Okay, it looks good. Actually, it will better confine my prompt. Okay, to let the team knows that what I want. And you can see after choosing different variables and to take the user input. For here, I just don't. The first time I run this code, it took me 1.5 hours, and I did not see a result. So I set the limit for the maximum iteration and RPM to 2. And here we can see I put all the inputs, okay, the different inputs here, and the prompt, okay, inputs are going to be fed into the team, and you are going to see, okay, now we're starting the analysis of the stock, blah blah blah. Okay, so here we can actually define, okay, what the user actually input. Okay, these variables are going to be used. Okay, so let's first see here. So please enter the ticker. Okay, additional words. I want a comprehensive report. Okay, enter the date. Today is the date. And the information range of my month. Okay, so it starts working. Okay, it will start working. And as immediately you see here, it actually go back to 2022. This is not what I want. But eventually, it goes on talking a lot of things. You see, there is a very interesting loop. You see, whenever it gets some of the information, it will evaluate, not okay, will go back, and so on. So, just to save your time, let's go to the summarization. The response is about 5,000 lines. So, I summarize it into 3 parts. Okay, I take them to 3 parts to summarize. Because ChatGPT cannot intake such amount of text. So let's see the first part: user input, data verification. Okay, verify the accuracy of the data and so on. Yeah, it's good. Retrieval and formatting. Okay, it works. Okay, especially with the Python data analyst. Let's see of the stock movement. Okay, so yeah, looks alright. Okay, looks better than the previous 2 versions. Okay, let's just not think about the runtime for a moment. Okay, so in general, the quality has improved, but also the complexity you can see also increased. Okay, so the other part is about okay, so actually in the second part, the agent starts to realize, okay, now we are talking about 2024, September 8th. Okay, so and also there are some key events identified in the news, and I think at this moment when it talks to the um, agents, not the first agent, okay, not the data fetcher, but the data analyst and so on. There are some additional tasks assigned to different agents. This is not a coding agent. Let's see. Let's see our coding agents. Okay, our coding agent. Yeah, sorry. Our coding agent is Python data analyst. Okay, name is okay. Yeah, so go back and specify the package to use Y Finance to get the data. Okay, looks good. Then historical average data. Okay, perfect. Summarize the report. So just during the process, you see there are some repetition. It's not that we finish one task and move on. It will go back, okay, one way or another. So the third part, we're going to see there is a goal, the stock data, news summary, and so on. But you see here, the agents are going to utilize the API for Alpha Advantage. We don't have that. Okay. So this is something that we would like to avoid in the future test, because if it goes out of the range, it may cause problem. Because some of the APIs you cannot just ask agents to imagine, okay, create one API for you. You need to create it by yourself. And for me personally, at the test stage, I prefer everything free, like Wi-Finance package and so on. Yeah. So basically, the news summary and the storm matrix, everything looks fine. Okay. Yeah. So let's see the final result. Okay. The final result looks not so bad. First of all, it shows stock price data. Well, we can see that this is stock price and stock analysis. Okay, looks quite good. And also, there are some notable movements following for the following news. Okay, looks fine. News summary for the from August to September. Yeah, you can see this is a sentiment analysis. Okay, in the future, if I get a chance, we're going to explore the sentiment analysis together. Okay, at this part, okay, it does the crew team does the job to analyze all the sentiment. Let's see if it is correct. Let's see this one. Lawsuits, okay, negative, yes. Apple Card Plus, positive. Okay, if you're interested, you can check the validate all the news here. Of course, if you ask Crewai to add the source of the data, I think it's possible. Okay, just need to carefully design. About our coding agents, okay, Python analyst, because he also provides some of the outputs. So in the final summary, it actually summarizes all the information from um, different agents. It's like one agent for one part. Okay, it's orchestrated well. So in the future instance, I would like to avoid showing the code in the final report. Right. So I would like to say, I just want to see the main part. And eventually give me a buy or sell recommendation, and look forward for some future periods. I also checked if Crewai can generate a graph. It is a very difficult task, as I find in Autogen. In their official documentation, I can create. I can see that the agent creates a PNG file, a picture file of the stock or something statistic. But here in Crewai, okay, at the first check, it could do the similar things. Can they show it also in the final output report? I'm not sure. So in the future, we are going to explore them together. So just a quick summary of this journey. So Crewai is a good tool. I would recommend you to check the official documentation and also check in GitHub like the base the cookbook that I checked for Crewai. You can get some inspiration to build your own app. And for each of the detail setting, you need to try. Okay. Um, like I said before, some of the parameter you can let loose, okay, give some flexibility, but you will have longer conversation. Or you just give it a very specific tool, like to the agent, but be careful if during the conversation it cannot meet the demand of the agent, it could create a problem. Not necessarily saving time, okay? So there are some balance you can try out. Okay, just do more tests. My suggestion is, eventually, as you can see, I have 3 steps. Okay, I have the simplest version. I see some results. Okay, the workflow is working. Then I improve and improve again. Eventually, as you can see, the last version of course it looks very well. Okay, compared to the previous versions. But the key problem here is that the runtime. Let me see if I already marked it here. Yeah, the runtime is around 1 hour. So you need to see if this can meet your demands. Can you wait 1 hour for the report? Okay, and if you have a budget for the API, for example, we are using Grok freely now, but if you are using ChatGPT, you use OpenAI API. What is your cost budget? You cannot always let it go freestyle, right? It generates a lot of nonsense information, and you pay the cost for the tokens. Okay, so yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Utilize the tools to quick start agent flow. During the iteration from simple to complicated version, do it step by step, do some test, and some threshold, some parameters always change, and to see the results. For the description of the agent, description of the tools, organization of the chat, always check the final results and see how you can better design the app. Okay. If you have any question, any doubt, feel free to let me know. We can explore future possibilities with AI, with agentic workflow together. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye bye. Everyone, welcome to my channel again. Today I'm going to present you the project that I have successfully run in my local environment to build the AI agents and let them talk with each other. Um, First of all, the tools I'm going to use, first of all, is MLLM Studio. Uh, so with LM Studio, you can download the model that you want to test and also to load it and to start the server. So to let the VS Code module to actually access to the local server and interact with the large language model that you prefer. And then, of course, we need the Visual Studio software installed so that you can run the Python code very easily. And the last and most important thing is that the Autogen. Autogen is a package, and also the I think a package is a right name because I'm going to import in the Python environment. Uh, this Autogen is I think developed by Microsoft and is very useful for me to actually build this conversation program between different agents. So you need to pay attention to two parts. The first part is LM Studio page. It will tell you how Autogen can interact with LM Studio. It is very in detail. You can test all the code, of course. The second part is about group chat. Group chat is actually more advanced. So if you check this page of the LM Studio, it gives the example of two agents chats. So it's just two agents